Mike Beer in New York. We have special coverage of the late pick 4 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, races 8 through 11. It includes a couple of graded stakes races in the mix. The Swale Stakes for 3-year-olds will go as race number 9, and the Palm Beach Stakes for 3-year-old turf horses will go as race number 10. It's a pretty tough sequence, as usual, out there at Gulfstream Park. They got some really competitive races, and to me, anyway, none tougher than the first leg of this pick 4. Race number 8 is a 1.16 turf race with a $100,000 optional claiming tag or non-winner 3 allowance condition. They're going 1.16. It's a big field. There are a lot of ways to go in here. Some really good horses in this race, stakes quality horses in this race, as a matter of fact. It's a tough one. I would just say this at the opening: pay attention to scratches before you head up to the windows to put your pick 4 in, because the horse that is first up on the also eligible list happens to be a horse who won a Grade 1 turf race in his very last start. That's Lochte, who upset the Grade 1 Gulfstream Park turf handicap at 39-1 last time. He's first AE for this race. If he gets in, I mean, I don't really know how you would leave him out of any pick 4 that you played if he's in this race. I don't know that I would expect him to run as well as he did last time when he upset some very good horses like Amira's Prince, Imagining, Summer Front was in that race. I mean, that was a good field. He got a perfect trip from the rail, but the way that he won off through the stretch in there, I'm not so sure that he couldn't have won it without a perfect trip. He was really good in that race. You obviously have to take him very seriously if he gets in. But at this stage of the game, he's not in, so we're not going to talk about him that much. For me, I thought there were a lot of ways to go in here. I would want to take plenty of coverage in here for the first leg for my main ticket anyway, and we can put it up there for the horses I'm going to use in this first leg on my main ticket. I'm going to use the 1, 5, 9, and 13 as my main horses in this race. I will take backups with other horses, though. The horse that just want to touch on briefly is the number 1 in here, Money Talker, because I'm a little interested in this horse, and he's a huge price on the morning line, and the kind of horse I would be betting to win in this race at any kind of big price. A horse who ran some fine races in Southern California before they sent him up to Woodbine in Canada towards the end of last year, and he got exactly 1 start in on firm turf up at Woodbine last summer, and that was also his only start with Lasix on firm turf. And he ran a 90 Beyer speed figure that day, a race that, if he can run that race back, makes him very tough in this field. The horse that he beat that day, Thespian's Fate, came back to win his next start with a 92 Beyer speed figure and legitimized that effort. After that, they tried him back on synthetic. It didn't work out. He caught yielding ground in a stakes race, and that didn't work out. If he's back on firm turf here and he can run something like that, I think he's pretty dangerous, and he's an interesting horse in here. I'm going to use him. I think the number 5 War Dancer in a lot of ways is the horse to beat. He makes his 4-year-old debut off about a 5-month layoff. He was a good 3-year-old turf horse, though. I always expect these horses to get better as they get older. This horse has a lot of ability. I would never leave him off a pick 4 ticket. He is going to have to come back off a layoff, though, in a tough field, and it's just not going to be easy for him to beat a field like this. I'm also going to use the 9 Philly Ace, who's second off of a long layoff and comes out of a race where it was just dominated up front on a moderate pace, and he was off of it, but I thought he tried gamely through the stretch. He can take a step forward off that, and he has back races to get to that make him tough. And I would also use the horse on the outside, Old Time Hockey, who ran a big race here, going a little bit longer in the Sunshine Millions turf race. There was some bumping. He just missed in there. I felt like he could have been placed first, considering all the bumping that was going on in the stretch. He wasn't, but he still ran well. They're my 4 main horses, but I would use others in this first leg of the pick 4. The second leg is the Grade 2 Swale Stakes for 3-year-olds. They're going to sprint 7 furlongs. There's a separate analysis up on the video page for this race, a graded stakes race. It feels like a 2-horse race between the number 1 Havana, the number 3 No Nay Never. Look, I'll just put them both on the pick 4 ticket because it feels like one of them almost has to win this race. I much prefer Havana to No Nay Never, and I would press Havana in my pick 4 ticket, but I'd use a little No Nay Never because there's no reason to get knocked out of a pick 4 by a very talented horse like him. The third leg, race number 10, is that Palm Beach Stakes for 3-year-old turf horses, a big field, 12 in here, a lot of different horses I felt like I could use in here. We talked about this race again. There's a separate analysis, so if you want more in-depth analysis of the race, you can go to the video page and get that. I'm using the 2, 4, 10, and 12. I prefer Chad Brown's horse Pluven in here, who was second time in North America, and I thought he ran well in his first start here in the Dania Beach, but a couple other horses are out of that race in here, and I would use them as well. Kieran McLaughlin's Patent is the 2, first time Lasix on turf, and there's a big formulator stat for that horse, so I'd use those horses. In the finale, to close it out, race number 11, it's a 5-furlong turf sprint, another big field with I guess a lot of ways to go. I wasn't thrilled with this field overall. I don't think that this is the strongest field in the world. To me, I would be happy if I make it this far into the pick 4 and I only have the 2 and the 3, Gentleman's Code and Really Sharp. I could live with myself if I was alive just to those 2 horses, and I would take my chances. I'm really interested to see what Really Sharp does in this race, the number 3. Horses only got 1 lifetime turf start. That was as a 2-year-old back in 2012 in the Grade 3 Bourbon Stakes, going longer. But he ran really well that day. He was ultimately disqualified. He missed by a nose, was disqualified and placed like 6th or way back in the pack, but he ran really, really well that day. It's still his only turf start to date. There was a long layoff, and he came back off exactly that 1-year layoff last time down here, sprinting on the dirt. He ran pretty well. He contested the pace for a long way before he got tired. I'm expecting this horse to run better second off the layoff. I like him, and I like Gentleman's Code, the 2. I guess if I had to use backups, it would be the layoff horses in here, the 4 and the 5, 2 horses who have races that make them tough. We haven't seen them in a long time. We'll see what happens with them off the layoff. But, once again, if I make it through the first 3 legs and I have the 2 and the 3, that's fine with me. I'll take my chances. It's another really, really tough pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park. They put on a good show down there. The racing is very good. It's very competitive. And if you can just be right in a couple of spots in these pick 4s, you can really, really be paid. Don't miss this pick 4. It starts at race number 8 on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. The approximate post time for the first leg of this pick 4 is 4:39 Eastern time. So get your tickets in.